Hey folks, Duker Does here. Welcome back to my channel. Normally I like to have a little fun on my channel, but today I gotta be a little serious here. A couple days ago, on my Facebook page, I responded to a video someone else posted. And the video was of a father who had designed a special harness so that his child who has cerebral palsy is like me, so his child can stand up and know what it was like to not only stand on his own 2 feet, but to play with his brothers and sisters. And the smile on this child's face was heartwarming because it reminded me of my childhood and things I couldn't do and what I could do. And I applauded the father for what he did for his son, and talked about some of my own experiences being as someone who is living with cerebral palsy. I talked about the first time I broke a board with a kick. Being able to kick is something I was told I would never be able to do, let alone walk. When I was really young, they even said I wouldn't be able to walk. I proved a lot of people wrong in that respect and proved to myself that I could do things that a lot of people said I couldn't do. Well, anyway, someone else who had commented on this video said some kind words about what I had said, but at the same time, they said something that I wouldn't say really offended me, but I was really surprised that people this day and age still use terms that are either outdated or no longer relevant to my disability. She used the word, she was saying that people with my condition have made great strides. And yes, we have. The problem was the word condition. Okay, when I hear the word condition in reference to my disability, it's like it's saying I have a disease. I don't have a disease. The cerebral palsy is damage to the brain outside of the womb. In other words, when I was born, the nurse, the doctor, somebody hit my head on something, caused damage to the part of my brain that controls muscle function. So I have impaired balance, hand-eye coordination. I walk with a limp. And if you notice, there's a little speech impediment in my voice. Okay, these are things that are common with cerebral palsy. Some of them are even worse. Some cause mental retardation, delayed speech, more severe physical disabilities, like you'll see some people with what they call rigid cerebral palsy, and that is where the muscles in their body are so tense they can't flex their hands or feet, or their legs for that matter, so they're wheelchair bound. Then you have others who are what they call spastic cerebral palsy, and that is where the muscles are contracting and relaxing at the same time, so they have kind of a spastic movement to their body. Okay, I have what's called spastic. In other words, the muscles in my legs don't completely relax. They stay tight, or they could even be rigid, but they stay tight to where I can't do such things as jump, skip, run. I can run, but not very well. No, that's what my disability is. So in terms of the word condition, no, it's not a condition. It's a disorder. Okay, it is a childhood development. In other words, delayed development, because my mother, I wasn't diagnosed until I was 2 years old with cerebral palsy. And my mother got concerned because I would just lay there. I made very little sound, wasn't walking yet. So finally I was diagnosed at the age 2. Other terms that I find archaic: handicapped, disabled. Those two I feel are outdated as well. For one, when you say disabled, sounds like you're missing a body part. Okay? And I'm not completely unable to do things. When you say disabled, you're also saying that person is not able to do something. Well, that's not entirely true. Just because that part of the brain is affected doesn't mean that the entire brain is affected. I can still do some things. Okay? We make up for the part that we lack in. Since I'm not physically able to do some things, I make up for it mentally. In other words, I'm smart. I know a lot about a lot of things. And that's what a lot of us people with disabilities do. When we have something we can't do, we make up for it in another way. The word handicap. The word handicap is a term from the 18th century, well, 19th century. And it describes someone who is on the side of the road or sidewalk or whatever, panhandling for money. And usually it's because back in the old days, people who panhandled for money would hold their cap, take their cap or their hat off their head and use that to beg for money. And the term was handicappers. And usually people that in those days that did that were physically and mentally disabled. Okay? So the term stuck. It became handicap to describe someone with a disability. These terms are outdated. Nowadays it should be physically disabled or physical difference, because I understand that in this society we point out people who are different from someone else. And when you meet me, you can tell right off of that there's something different about me. I walk different, I talk different. Okay? And usually when I get pointed out, it's that guy with the limp. Okay? But I'm a person first. My disability does not determine who I am or what I am. I am simply a person living with a physical challenge. Nothing more, nothing less. I am a human being who has feelings, wants, and needs, just like a normal, able-bodied person. And yes, we have to overcome certain odds that are against us. But that doesn't mean we struggle with our disability. And that was another word she used in the conversation on Facebook. She said that people who have my disability have struggles to overcome. Well, not really. We just like every other human being on earth, we struggle to survive. We struggle to live. But that doesn't mean our disability makes it harder for us to struggle. Again, we overcome and adapt. We find another way to live. And so I hope that when this person sees this video, she'll see that I'm not offended by what she said. I'm just hoping that down the road, she will look at a person who has a mental or physical disability different. That they are just a human being like her. I'm not offended by what she said. I just think that as a society as a whole, we need to change. We need to stop looking at people based on their sexual orientation, their race, or their disability. We need to start looking at these people as what they are, people, human beings. Because once we do that, there is no reason to separate each other at all anymore. We need to learn to love rather than hate. And we need to quit ostracizing what we don't understand. Because I've never been shy about answering questions about my disability. Because I know it is part of who I am. And just like someone who is Black, Native American, Chinese, Korean, is part of who they are. They can't change what they are. I can't change me being disabled. God made me this way. And God made people of all different colors. And we need to come to realize that under this skin, we are all the same. Regardless of what race, creed, or nationality we are. Or disability or sexual orientation. We are a human first. And we are God's children. And that should be the most important thing. Thank you for joining me, folks. I hope you like this video. Please give me a like. Come subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions about anything I talked about in this video, please give me a comment. I'll be glad to have a discussion with you about it. Well, this is Duger Does saying do good and dishes. Bye, folks.